It is 3:30. You are joining, the District Admin creating ad hoc reports in NCEES 21-22. And I did put a link to the slides in the chat. So we'll get started. You can have your camera on or off. And you can unmute as needed or put your questions in the chat area. There is a Q&A entry area too. I do have that open. I do like just for everybody to put questions in the chat because most people have the same questions. If you feel you have a private question, you're welcome to put that in the Q&A area and we'll be sure to answer that. Audio issues, I always circle this on the screen, check under your three dots and switch your audio to try to correct any audio issues. We did check earlier and everybody could hear and see. So I think we're good to go. If you need closed captions, that icon is in your menu bar. There's a little Martian guy and the closed caption symbol there if you'd like to see those. I am Cammie Nairn. I am your NCEES Education Product Consultant at DPI at the home-based team. I don't believe Dr. Robert Sox is with us today, but he is your NCEES business owner and can answer all things policy. He's amazing to answer all things policy for NCEES. Also joining me today is my teammate, Audrey Long. I'll let her introduce herself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Audrey Long, and I'm the product manager for learning.com. Glad to be here this afternoon.
Thank you, Audrey. Audrey's going to help monitor our questions today. So if we have questions coming in, she'll make sure I get those. Thank you. So our agenda is simple, but we will be working hands-on today in creating ad hoc reports. We're going to look at your questions that you sent in when you registered. We're going to review how to access the training site if you'd like to use that today. You're welcome to build out ad hoc reports or follow along in your production site. It should not hurt. It will not hurt anything if you build a report and run it. If you don't need the report, you can always delete it later. We're going to then get into the actual training of ad hoc reports. You'll be navigating to ad hoc reports restricted, and we'll look at creating, running, publishing, and scheduling those reports. And then we'll look at a few resources and wrap up our session today. It is an hour-and-a-half session today, so thank you for joining us. All right, and you're welcome if you want to say hello to each other in the chat while we get started. That's great. I do see we have about 18 people on today. We had around 100 or more register, so hopefully they'll join. And Audrey is going to put a link to the slides in the chat if you're just joining us. So here are some questions that were asked. How do I create reports specifically for the list of teachers I am responsible for observing? We'll take a look at that answer. How to create reports and push out to individual schools to run for their staff. Can they be broken down by a plan type, but also aggregate as an entire staff? We'll look at how we can do that in ad hoc reporting. Is there a record of teacher activity status report for the current year? And can it capture dates and signatures that were recorded? So yes, we will take a look at that. And then we will answer the final question, observation score report summary for the current year by employee as possible. So we'll ask that throughout the webinar. I put the links to where the answers are on the right there. Okay, so training accounts. Let me copy this. If you would like to work in a training account, you will need to select one from this spreadsheet. And we'll come back. Let me click that and show you what that looks like. All right, looks like a few people have already been out here and started claiming some sections. So this spreadsheet, let me see if I can zoom in a little bit so it's a little bit bigger for you. I'm going to turn off my camera because my, let's see, stop video. My bandwidth is really slowing things down. There we go. There we go. All right, so this is the spreadsheet, and there are groups of logins. You can play with any of those logins, but today we are going to be logging in with the district administrator. And you're going to need the username of whichever section you put your initials by or your name by. So claim a group. You're going to be looking for teacher number 3, and you're going to need the username, which is highlighted in yellow, and it starts with a number and then .teacher3. So get yours. You can copy that. Let me go get mine. I'm down here on number 100. Three. I'm going to copy that. Then we're going to go to the training site. Is everybody good so far? The training site is linked at the top of the spreadsheet. And you can see you're at NCDPI train, truenorthlogic.com. And you're going to paste in or type in that username. And then you're going to put the password, which is train with a capital T 2021. Train with a capital T 2021. I'll pause just for a minute and make sure anybody that wants to use this site and is not working in their live site can get in. Please put in the chat if you're having any issues or raise your hand. We'll try to get to you. It will look a little different from the landing pages in different areas will look a little different because it's not updated every day out here. Okay, I'm not seeing any questions. I will put the training site in the chat. Okay, so if we're in here, you can go to System Administration. Just want to show you where to find your ad hoc reporting. So we're on the landing. We landed on the home page and we've clicked on System Administration. We're going to scroll down under the Application section, and you're going to look for Ad Hoc Reporting Restricted. Restricted just means that the report results are restricted to your access rights in your location. The only reason that word restricted is there. All right, I'm just going to pop back to the slides just for a minute and make sure everybody's up to speed. If you have any questions and need us to repeat, please put that in the chat. For those that want to log into the training accounts, this is the slide to do that. Okay, not seeing anything. We're going to move forward. And we're creating an ad hoc report. We've navigated to System Administration, Applications, Ad Hoc Reporting Restricted. On your slide, I've put your help guide. This is also under the help guides tab in NCEES, under the reporting container, the ad hoc reporting container. I did want to show you this. If you have people that are dedicated to doing reports, and they're going to be building out ad hoc reports for your schools, for your district, those reports are owned by the creator. They cannot be shared to someone else or assigned over to anyone else. So if that person is leaving, you're going to need a way for your new person to rebuild those reports. So it might be helpful to have a spreadsheet. I'm going to click on this. I went in and pulled all the fields that were in all the reports. We have added, since we did the new DA access rights, there's a couple new fields I saw, can assume identity and can assign access rights, that are probably not in this spreadsheet. So you can see that all the different reports are listed by topic, by title, and you can put in add lines, add your title of your plan or your report that you're creating, put the title there. You can list who it's published to, and then you can just put X's or check marks or however you want to designate which fields you used in that report. So I hope that's helpful for those. I know there's some folks out there that just love reports and love to keep up with a spreadsheet of their reports. So hope this will be helpful for you and your team. The only people that can create ad hoc reports are people with NCEES District Administrator access. And that's anybody with NCEES District Administrator access, whether they can assume identity or can assume access rights. Any DA, assigned DA, can create an ad hoc report. Okay, here's our first question. How do I create reports specifically for the list of teachers that I am responsible for observing? This will not really be easily answerable with the ad hoc reports. So answer A, district administrator can select to narrow down the demographics in the report. So if the person that needs to run this report is observing a certain group of people, you can narrow down the demographics to those who are in cycle year 0, 1, 2, 3, things like that. But you cannot set a specific group. So if they only have access to 10 people and they want to report that they can go run with those 10 people, that's not set in ad hoc reports. However, if you create a report, like if they need to find evaluation status or orientation status completion, go ahead and create that report and publish it to them, because as long as they are a site administrator, they can run any report that you publish to them. If this is an AP that you've given site administrator access to, and you've assigned access to only certain people in the school, that is all that is going to show up in the results when they run that report. Does that make sense? So if you make a report as a district administrator, publish it out to the site administrators to run at their schools, the principals who are at budget code 114, their results will return everybody, because they are system assigned access to all staff and all staff plans. However, if you've given somebody else site administrator access, that does not automatically give them access to all staff plans. They must be manually assigned access. So their results, when they run the report, will be restricted to whatever access you gave them.
Okay, Cammie, we have another question. Don wanted to know, is each LEA only allowed one DA?
No, you can have as many DAs as you need. You determine that. Think about it really hard, because DAs do have access to everybody. If they have that reopen access, they get access to all the plans. So think about it before you assign them out. NCDPI does have to assign your first DA, or if somebody has left and did not designate a new DA before they left, we'll assign another one for you. But then that DA can assign others to be DAs. Hope that helps, Don. Second question. How to create reports and push out to individual schools to run for their staff, both broken down by plan type, but also in aggregate as an entire staff. So when you create your ad hoc reports, you can create them with filters and publish that report to the site admins to run at their schools. The site admin location access rights, like we just explained, will restrict the results that are returned. The filters, they can filter to run just for one school or for many schools. We're going to take a look at that as we get into building out the report, which we're about to do. We're going to create a people ad hoc report. So I want you to navigate, if you're following along in your system, to the ad hoc reporting restricted, system administration, applications, ad hoc reporting restricted. We're going to scroll down to the report topic of people, and we're going to click on new report. And I'll show you that in just a minute. Let's go over there. Site. Oh, sorry, guys. Here we go. Find my training site. Oh, that's not me though. All right, let me go get my user.
Hey, Cammy, Keisha says she's having problems hearing. She's not able to hear anything.
Advise her to check her audio under the 3 dots,
Okay.
and she can switch audio. Sorry about this, guys. I don't know where my login area went.
And I reposted the training account and training sites too.
Okay. All right. So here we are. So system administration, and then you went. Let me do that one more time since I was. Yeah, that allowed me back out. All right. So we went to system administration, ad hoc reporting restricted. Let's take a look at this page before we scroll down to people report. When you are running reports, the ad hoc reporting page will put your most recent reports, 4 or 5 up here in the top. And it will tell you which report you ran. It will show the title. It may show you the topic that you picked. And it will tell you when that report expires. So reports don't stay forever when you run them. You'll need to download those, and I'll show you where to do that. The eye icon means this report is ready to look at, ready to view. This little squiggle graph icon means you can rerun this report from here. I always advise if you rerun from here, check the top section, because rerunning from here doesn't always hold the parameters you put in the top section. The rest of the sections are fine. I don't know why the top section, and you'll see what I mean in just a minute. But you can rerun from here. Then as you scroll down the page, these are all the current reports or the topics for each report. You may not see as many as I do, but down here there's course reports, evaluation reports, status reports, observation reports, people reports. So here's your people report. I'm just going to expand this section over here on the right to show you what's in here before we click on new report. So in here, you're going to see any templates that you've saved, any reports that you've created and saved. And you'll see the run icon and you'll see the edit icon if you've created this report. You're also going to see reports that have been published to you, but you will not be able to edit those reports. If you run a report, it shows at the top of the page and it shows under this cache tab in the topic area. So here you can see that I've been running reports and they will expire on February 4th. So if I want this report, I need to go view it and download it. So let's just take a quick look at that to familiarize yourself with that. So here's a report I ran. And I was looking at a PDP that equals monitored. Who has monitored PDPs in my district? So it returned to me which teachers have monitored staff. Over here on the right, I can go back and start a new ad hoc report. I can download a CSV of this report. I can do a printer friendly display, which just pops up a new window that looks just like this window. All right, we're going to go back to the new ad hoc query. Just wanted to show you where those links were. All right, so remember we're on system administration. We went to ad hoc reporting restricted. We're scrolling down to people. We're going to click new report if everybody's ready. Okay, what you're going to see on this screen is you can choose to run your report as raw data or graphical. Graphical is going to return percentages, and we're going to try that out a couple steps from now. Right now, we're going to work on just running a raw data report. You can name your report. So I'm just going to do, and you can put your initials on it if you want to. All right, so it's going to need a name, especially if you're going to save it. You do not have to name it if you're just out here playing and you don't want to save it. You're just going to come back and play again. You can put a description in. I usually just type the title in here, and there's the raw data. I'm not going to save it yet or save as yet. If you're doing graphical, you can choose to include summary rows on those percentage rows. All right, so coming over here, what do we have? The first column is what's going to show on my titles on my report, the little header areas. So like here, I'd have a last name, and then I'd have a column for first name, a column for username. Oh, no, because I didn't check that one. If I want to see the username on my report, I can check it. All right. It comes pre-checked. I always just like to uncheck everything and then tell it what I want it to have. So you work with what works best for you. To uncheck everything, you're going to double click. You're going to check and then check. It's going to uncheck everything. All right, so in this people report, I want to include the person's last name and their first name. Username in the NCEES is the same as their UID. So that's going to be username, and there's employee ID. That's going to be the same thing. That's going to be the people's UIDs. So if you need a UID number in your report, and remember, if you're running a report with a name and their UID, that's like doing confidential information, PII. So make sure that you keep those reports confidential. I'm not going to run UIDs in this report. Admin type is next. So I just go down. So let's look. If you just wanted a report that included all the people named Smith in your district, you can come over here and type Smith. And that's what it's going to look for. And that's a contains. Or if you want to run everybody whose last name starts with Z, you can do that. You can do an exact match. Maybe I wanted all the Narons. And you can do does not contain. Maybe I want everybody but the Narons. So those are your choices. So look under each one of these to see what this is. If you leave it blank, it's going to pull everybody. All right, last name, first name, username, admin type. What is this? So in NCEES, site administrators are going to be your principals or anybody that's been assigned site administrator in NCEES. And then district administrator. We don't really use region administrator. Maybe some people at DPI have that, but people in the districts do not have region administrator. Users are all your other staff, your teachers, your support staff, all of those that are in NCEES. Super user is like my level. I am a super user at DPI. So you're not going to be able to pull that. You can't pull above what you have, what level you have. And then state administrator, we don't use in NCEES either. So if you want to know what admin type they are, you can click that. The current staff position in NCEES, we only bring in currently people under the instructional demographic position. So instructional is going to be your teachers, your counselors, your social workers. All of those fall under instructional. And then administrative is going to be your superintendents, your directors, those kind of roles. We are working on adding a support demographic for people to come in here and take professional development, but that is not in the system yet. So currently we're only using instructional and administrative. Employee ID, do you want to see their email addresses? Home phone is not in NCEES. And here's those two new fields. Can they assign access right or assume identity? I don't care about that. What I'm looking for today is I want to know what plan types they're on. So I'm going to check the PDP type and the teacher plan type. I want it to include all of the types. So I'm just going to leave these blank. Now, if I'm going to publish this to a site administrator to run at their school, so I'm going to change my title over here, plan types. If they want to run a report that only shows comprehensive people, what kind of PDPs do they have, they need to filter that report. So to be able to filter the report, it's in this third column over. So I'm going to add a filter on both of those. We're going to look at what that looks like in just a minute. All right, and then find all users with this site. You don't need to check this. If you want it to show on the report, it's going to put all the details that are under here. So you can click in here and look and see what you have access to. So this person has access to all these schools in the training site for Berkeley County Schools. I do not want that to show on the report. There is find all users at this site. I usually just leave it right there. You can find all users with this site listed as primary. It is designated, primary schools are designated in NCEES, but we also have another section down here that you can check to show the primary location. Find users who are connected to this site, but it's not their primary site. So maybe I want to find all the people who maybe probably really shouldn't be in this report. So I might want to use that. Here's the primary site. I may want to show that on the report. All right, and then demographics. Here's where you can go in and narrow down. We asked that question earlier. How do I narrow down this report? So I'm going to look at instructional and see what's under there. We have certification year. So if you only wanted to find everybody that's on cycle year 0, then you could click that. And when you save that report, that is the only people that can get in this report that you have access to. So certification year is a good one that you can sort by. Classification. I would not advise using classification. That's because our districts have to send in the HR data. And the classification codes, districts are allowed to personalize those classification codes. So if they're personalized for your district, NCEES can't pick them up and properly define, is this person the classification of comprehensive or standard? And it also does not show abbreviated. There is not a classification code that we show for that. So I would stay away from classification. Evaluation type, this is what is assigned in NCEES. So these are good to use. Maybe this report is just to pull everybody on a comprehensive plan. And then lastly is the role. So here's all the instructional roles. Maybe you want only the teacher classrooms included in this report right here. So you would select that. Any questions about defining down into the demographics to kind of like narrow what's pulling in the report? Enroll date, I think that's just when they first got into NCEES. The last login date could be interesting. Maybe you want to see if people are really logging in and when's the last time they logged into a report to NCEES. That you can include. Survey dates, I don't know a lot of districts that are using surveys, so we're going to skip that. All right, this one, active accounts. Am I pulling a report that will pull active people plus inactive people that have left my district, but they've not gone on to another district, so I still can report on them. So that you would do both, and you could do yes or no. And if you want it to show, click that button over here. All right, before we go any farther, you might wonder what these little 2 circles are. This is to sort your report. You have filter A and filter B. So I could do a last name, first name. So my report then, when it runs, everybody's names will be in order by last name in the first column and then last name in the second column. All right, everybody good so far? All right. We're going to skip over these next sections. If you're running a report for professional development, that's what the roster information is for. So that's the area for that. If you're running a report for the instructor-led PD, you may want to include roster sections that are out there. We're going to skip over that. Attendance is also on PD, so we're going to skip over that. And then the last section is include your user sites. Now, we did ask to pull the primary site, but I'm also going to pull the school name. You can also pull the school code if you wanted to, district code, yeah, things like that. I'm going to pull the school name, and I'm going to actually sort by school name first, and then sort by last name. Oops, I did that backwards. Skip. All right, first school name and then last name. All right. Everybody good with setting up the report that's working along with me? I think we're good. Don't see any questions. We're going to click Save As. All right, so here's my report. It's saved. It's actually ready to run. I can go run this report. I can schedule an export, or I can delete it. Maybe I do want to add the year on this report that it's pulling. And I want to save that where I updated that. It will give me a little message that this has been updated. Okay, everybody's got the report saved. Let's go run it, and then we'll come back and look at publishing it. So I'm going to click under the little drop down here. We're going to run this report. It's going to pop me right back to this same page. I'm going to click run. All right, see how I added a new line up here under most recent reports? And it's an in progress report. It will email me when this report is ready. However, if I'm impatient, I can just keep refreshing until I see the eye. Then I can click the eye and I can see the report that I just created. Okay, and here's where I can download to a CSV. Because I want to work with this report. And now it's in Excel. And I can filter, I can sort, I can do whatever I need to do with this report. Okay, we're going to come back to the ad hoc page. And we're coming back down to people. I'm going to expand this. Here's my report. I'm going to edit it so I can get back to this page. I like my report. I want to go publish it to somebody to run. So here's my publish to section. I can add an individual user by clicking on this button. Sometimes it takes a minute or two. The only thing you really need to put in on this page, although you have several options, is the person's first and last name. See if I can just put in a first name and see if it'll. So I'm going to click search. There we go. And I've got my teacher tools. So whoever is in my area that I want to publish this report to, I can click the box. And I can say select. And then I have to say finish. And now it's added one person. And that's the way just to add individual users. But if I want to target this to a group, I'll click that button and show you what that looks like. If you've ever sent targeted emails, this is going to be similar to that. When do I want this report available for them to start running? Right now it's set to the date that you created it, but you can change it. Just say, well, no, I don't want them to start accessing this report until the 7th. Okay. Do I want this report to expire? I do suggest that you decide when this report should expire, or it will stay there forever and the list can get mighty long. I just spent a long time cleaning up some published reports from 8 years ago. So make sure you put expiration dates in. You can use the widget. I'm just going to expire this report. Let's do it at the end of the year. The next section is dynamically republished. This means if you're publishing this to a site administrator, I'm going to click on it. It's going to publish to all the site administrators. And if I set the dynamically republish, the automatically republish, then when site administrators leave, it knows to take that report off them. If site administrators join me later, if I've automatically republished this report, they'll automatically have this report on their list. So I do kind of like to use that. Set account status. This one I've not always really understood. I just want the active accounts people to run the reports. I don't know how inactive people would run reports, but I just usually set active. Notice over here, you're going to see the number for how many people, users, active and inactive, are in the system. And then you want to watch this number as you drill down, because this is who it's actually going to be sent to. Set staff position. You can choose administrative or instructional. However, if this is a report for all site administrators to run, I usually just skip this one and I go to admin rights. I know some charters, you guys are wearing different hats, and maybe your instructional staff has been assigned as a site administrator to help out with reporting. Maybe you've got a trusted instructional staff to do that. So I want to publish this to the site administrators. And if I want to also publish it to district administrators, I hit hold control and click the district administrators. So you would have two choices, district and site administrator. Just going to publish this to site administrators. I'm going to hit continue. And then if you want to further narrow it down, you can look at the recipient list. The next area would be location. And you can change to which schools this needs to be published to. So maybe I only want certain schools to have this report. So I click a school and add it, click another school and add it, and it shows up down here below. So only site administrators at these two locations can run this report. If I want it to go to all my site administrators, then I'm not going to put the locations in. I can remove those by checking the boxes and click remove all. We might go set a couple because it says I'm not going to finish because I don't want it to go out to thousands of people. Although we are in the training site, so let's add that. We'll add one. Oh, so that went to 0 recipients. So I'm going to go pick some more. Let's just do by district, and we're going to add, and I'm going to remove the school, add the district, and click done. Now this looks better. I'm going to go to 7 recipients. All right, the other options that you can do instead of setting all this is just to go set individual people like we just did. set people advanced, that's going to be an area where you can have a list of people's UIDs or emails, and you can put those in and add a group of people. All their UIDs, just make sure you list them. And if it's a new line, like number, next line number, next line number, that's new line. Or are they comma separated or tab separated? It'll let you preview to show who's going to be added to the report. Now, if you set this up here and then set this down here, I think it blanks out what's above. The other area is if you're using staff groups, you could push this out to staff groups. However, users usually cannot run reports. So maybe you have a staff group of certain principals to put in. Maybe there are principals that only work with your assistant principals that are site administrators that only work with beginning teachers. Maybe you have a group of that. So you could set a staff group. So here's some groups I had created. The comprehensive plan staff. So you could select the group and click continue and add a group. And then sections, this is on professional development. I've never really used that. So we're going to click finish. And do I want to send this to 7 users? This is my training site. So I'm going to say yes. There's no, if you're in the training site, you can say yes. There's no emails out there. And then it's publishing. You can refresh the page if you want by clicking here. And it should eventually add everybody to the list. So that's how you publish a report. Now, real quick before we move on, I know it's 4:15, so we're doing pretty good. I want to go look at reporting to show you what the filters look like to the people you publish a report to. So we're going to go to reporting. And we're going to scroll down to my ad hoc reports. And we're going to show all. Control F, let's find a people report. There we go. So here's my people reports. So if you're under reporting and you go to my ad hoc reports, if you see the run button and no trash can button, these are reports that have been published to you. So you can't delete it, but you can run it. If you see the delete icon, it means you created the report. So you could potentially delete the report from here, or you can run the report. So let's look at the one we just created. I'm going to run that. And here's that filter. So this principal, they're running this report. They want to find everybody that's on a directed plan, and they could click search and run it. They could blank that out. Maybe they want to find everybody that's on the teacher comprehensive plan, and they want to know all the PDP types, and they could search. Or maybe they want everybody on a comprehensive plan that's monitored, and click search. So they have filter choices. Or they can just not set any filters and click search. Search actually means run. So then they can run that report and they'll see the results like we looked at a while ago. Check and see if we had any questions, but I don't see any. All right, we'll pop back to the slides and let's review and make sure we've covered everything. If you have any questions, unmute or put it in the chat. So we've answered our 2 questions. How do I narrow down those demographics and maybe get close to the group of who I'm observing? And remember that people's results are restricted to who they have access to. All right, and then you can, as a district administrator, create ad hoc reports with filters and publish those out so the site administrators can filter those. And you can set, when you target it out, that it only goes to your high schools or only goes to your elementary schools, things like that. Okay. All right, so we looked at all this, what your reports area looks like. We created a new report. We talked about unchecking the first, and those check marks in the first row show on your report as headers. And then we talked about filtering the report by last name, first name. You have two choices. We sort it by school and last name. And then you can also add filters. Let's see.
I have a question, Cami.
Okay.
Uh-huh. Suman wants to know, are there any chances of accidentally sharing reports to people not that it's not meant for?
Not that I would know of, unless you mistakenly have assigned somebody to be a site administrator or a district administrator. You can always review the list before you click that final finish. There's that button that lets you review who it's going out to. So check that list before you click the final submit and finish. Talked about how to publish the report. And we did not look at scheduling and export. That was covered in our last webinar. Does anybody want to see how to schedule your reports to run on certain days, like every month or every 6 weeks? Put a yes in the chat and we'll go look at that. If not, we're going to move on. There is a guide right there. Oh, somebody wants to see it. Okay. I always lose my little window for some reason. There we are. All right, so let's go back to ad hoc reporting. We're going to go to system administration, ad hoc reporting restricted. I'm just going to use my people report. All right, so I hope you saw that. So we went to system administration, went to the people report, and clicked the edit button to get back to this window. And remember, we saw under this drop down the schedule and export. I'm going to click on that. What do I want to title this? This is plan types. All right, what do I want my file when it runs to be named? And do I want to include the date in that name? I just need to copy that macro and put in there. When do I want this to run? I want this to run maybe monthly. So on the first of the month. What time do I want it to run? I'm going to run it at 10 a.m. Do I want this to reoccur? Daily, weekly, monthly, specify additional dates. All right, so if I did monthly, I could do on day 1 every month, or I could do the first Monday of every month. And then how many times do I want that to run? Maybe 5 times. You figure out that, or end it by a certain date. I did want to show you this last one because a lot of districts, they have certain deadlines to meet and they don't actually always fall on the monthly thing. So I can specify additional dates. And so I want it to run March 1st, and then I want it to run April 5th, and then I want it to run May 13th, and see how it just keeps adding down below. So you can pick specific dates to include as the recurrence pattern. Who's supposed to get this report? And now this can go to anybody, but you have to be in NCEES, I believe, to see the report. Skip all the FTP areas. It won't go to your FTP because we're a state-run system. And then you can reorganize the order of the report here. So whatever makes sense. And then you're just going to click save. All right, and now it's ready to run. Get back there. So I just wanted to show you down here. It shows you your scheduled reports. How many exports are coming up? Do I need to delete that? All right, hope that's helpful. Okay. All right, we're now on our third question, if everybody's ready to move ahead. Record of teacher activity status report, current year, and can we capture the dates and signatures recorded? So a lot of you probably run if you're already running reports, then you go to quick reports, you go to reporting, quick reports, and there are activity status reports out there. But maybe you need some additional fields and you want to know what's available in ad hoc report that you might can use. So I listed some of the topics that we usually publish reports out from. And the main one I think that's going to fit this question is this topic of evaluation forms, single row. You can get those activity signature statuses in that report. So we're going to go create an evaluation form, single row ad hoc report. And now those of you that are in the training site, do follow along, but your results, nobody's working on plans in the training site, so you may not get activities reported, but you can learn how to set it up. We just want to show you quickly, here's all those signatures that we're going to go select, and this is what a report would look like from the evaluation form single row signature report. We'll talk about that one in a minute. All right, so let's go. We're going to go to System Administration, Ad Hoc Reporting, Restricted. And we're looking for evaluation. I don't forget what we're looking for. Forms. Okay, that's right. Evaluation forms, single row. If you expand this, there are no reports in training site, but there will be in the public site. In fact, maybe trying to decide if I should go run this in the public site for you so you can see what it looks like. But let's just start. Let's go to new report. All right, so everything looks familiar. You can uncheck all of this and we're ready to go set up a report, or you can leave them checked and then uncheck as you go. So evaluation plan. NCEES does not run a report that lists everything, and notice all these past years. So I do need to pick the year and the plan type that I want to run for this report. So let's do comprehensive evaluation 21-22. I do want that to show on the report. I want last names and first names. Okay. All right, you see how that spun? It was updating because I chose comprehensive evaluation. Now it's also giving me a couple other steps. Do I want to include group in step? Do I want to pick? It's being slow. Do I want to pick a certain group to show? Am I only looking for the orientation or the observation one? You cannot select more than one there. I really am not going to look at either of those in the steps or all the steps in the plan. I only want active plans this time. And notice I don't have to check this, but I can select parameters over here and it not show on the report. So I could have chosen training and orientation, not printed it on the report. See, it likes to change things on you. Not put it on the report, but it will still honor what I put over here. Put that back to blank. Let it spin. See it spinning up here. See how that top section likes to check things back. All right, so I only want, I do not want archives, so I'm gonna say no. Do I want to know when the plan was created? Maybe. When it was last updated? Not really concerned with either of those at this time. All right, so I want to find all the sign-offs. See, now I've got to go. I'm going to start this over. All right. Comprehensive plan. I want to find all the sign-offs. I like to use Control F or Command F, depending on what operating system I'm on. I'm looking for the word sign off because I want the signatures. So there's 37 choices for sign off. Now I'm going to go through and look at all the areas that are highlighted and decide if I want it in the report. This is for a comprehensive plan, so I do want the pre-observation is required for the evaluator sign off. Here's the teacher acknowledgement signature. I do want that. The post-observation evaluator sign off. I want that. The teacher acknowledgement sign off. I want that. This next one is if a teacher has refused to sign off, do you want to see if the DA or the evaluator has signed off in lieu of the teacher? You can check that. We'll keep going down because I only want signatures. Conference 2, teacher acknowledgement 2. Let me know if we're going too fast. And conference 2. So you get the idea. You just go through and check all of the areas that you want. And I know I'm skipping past all of these other because I'm just creating a signature report. But you, at your leisure, go through and decide and run these and see what they pull and see if you can create a good report that maybe includes comments and all of that. Observation 3, post-conference. This would be good for observation dates and conference post-observation dates. So to get that 10-day window maybe to check those. Teacher post-observation. And then finally the peer is required in the comprehensive. And the post. All right, and then if it was the end of the year, I'm going to skip back past all these additionals, all of those extra ones. I'll scroll all the way down. All right, here's the summary evaluation. When it gets to the end of the year, you'll want to have that in there, those signatures. Okay, and now I can come to the person information. Do I want to include their information, last name, first name? Do I want to sort it? If I'm publishing it to somebody, remember if you want to filter it. Here's again where you go choose. If you want to choose, it'll publish to all your sites, or it will pull results from all your sites unless you narrow it down to only pull from certain areas. Okay, and if you're ready to run, let's include the school. You can name it and save it. So this is evaluation signature. Actually, oh. All right, and then I'm going to do a save as. I like the fields I've selected, and I can always come back and edit and save it again. Saved it. I'm going to run this report. All right, that ran pretty quick, so I'm pretty sure I don't have any results in here. But check yours. You should get results under here, just like we saw earlier, and you can download a CSV. But see, it will pull all those areas that I checked. So I hope that answers the signature activity question that came in. All right. All right, we're going to do one more report, and then if we have time if you have any specific questions on possibly running some other reports, we'll look at that. So we're going to come back to the slides just a minute. Evaluation forms, single row signature report. And here's observation, single row summary ratings reports. You do have summary ratings reports as quick reports, but you could also pull those from ad hoc if you wanted additional parameters that are not in your quick reports. And this is what they look like. So this final questions kind of goes along with this observation single row. You see these ratings here, and notice that it's the summary. So this is going to answer our next question. Observation score report summary current year. North Carolina does not have observation ratings reports. Ratings only occur at the end of the school year during the summary evaluation. So think about it when you're looking at the rubric. You do see ratings up here at the top: developing, proficient, accomplished, interaction. And when you're checking the tally boxes for the descriptors under developing, you're actually checking, do they know this? The ratings are only there because we use the same form in the observation that we use in the summary evaluation. You are not checking a box that says developing. You're checking a box that says uses data to understand the skills and abilities of the students. So North Carolina, and Dr. Socks will tell you this, we do not rate and should not discuss ratings during observations. The only time you talk about ratings is at that summary evaluation when you rate staff at the end of the year. So you can run ad hoc observations report single row for the elements. It actually pulls a report, and it will pull everything that has been tallied, and it will put the text in that report. It will not put developing, does not put proficient. It will put and takes responsibility for the progress of students to ensure that they graduate from high school. So that's what will be in that report. Any questions about why we do not have reports for observations that show ratings? Okay. All right, so I did want to show you how to run those percentage reports. So we're going to go back to our people ad hoc report, and let's go see if we can pull some percentages. This is what the report will look like. So we're going to go to system administration. We're going to go back to ad hoc reporting restricted. If my report is already up here that I want to do the graphics percentages on, I could actually just click into the run button and go reset it. I'm going to come back down to people, and you can try this on any report. We're going to come into our report that we created today. I'm actually wanting to come over to this side. I clicked the wrong thing. All right, so I'm going to come back here. So here's my report. I'm going to turn this into a graphical report. So I'm going to click the bullet for graphical. I'm actually going to rename it. To show percent. Well, if I could spell first. All right, so I'm renamed it. So now I need to save as, but I want to go and put my my graph options in. So what can I graph? If you see pink, it is the system, especially if you're running for a lot of people, does not like to graph those fields, but it will if you have a small group of people. It will graph those fields. So just play with it and see what kind of results you get. You may need to narrow down how many people you're running it for. All right, so I actually want to graph how many of the PDPs people are on each of these PDPs, what percentage are on individual, monitored, or directed. So I can either choose to see it as the pie or see it as a bar. So I'll click one of each to show you what they both look like. So here's all my plans. And again, we're in the test site, train site, so not sure if it's going to show. All right, so I'm just going to set those two to run graphs, but you could do it anywhere else, sites, any one of these to try out. I'm just going to set those two. I'm going to do save as. So I'll just click that just for good measure, save the report. All right, I've set my filters. I'm going to go run a graphical report. Run it. And we may need to go back to the slides to look at what it looks like. Yep, because that ran pretty quick. Oh, we do have some stuff. Good. All right, so here you have the reports that show percentages, the name of your report, what filters you used, if any. I didn't use any this time. Here's my PDP type section. You can hover over the colored areas and it should give you, I'll make it show up. No answer, no PDP, monitored PDP, 3%, individuals, 16 of those, 28% of my group. And then I can also look down below and see those numbers. So here's all my total. I see I have 32 people that don't have PDP type selected. I may want to check into that. What percentage of my total group is that? 55%. How many are monitored? 3.5% are monitored. I have different areas to look at. I can actually go view the people. It'll tell me their last name, their first name, what their PDP type is. Here you go. Their primary site and if they're active. And view user sites is not as helpful there, but you can, it may be on some other reports. And then the teacher plan type, here's what the bar graph looks like. This is helpful, I think, to take screenshots. You can print a PDF. It's not very pretty. So I'm not excited about the PDF anymore. But here's your bar graph. And again, you have those same counts that you can look through. Sometimes the only thing that skews these reports are if you have people that are active in more than one district. They're overlapping and they have not been inactivated in other districts. So sometimes you might see other school names. And then you need to go check your staff and see if they need to be inactivated from another district. Now, it also will pull the raw data. So you just click here and say show raw data. And it pops you down below the graphical data. Right here. And here you've got your download CSV for here. These you can always like highlight and copy and paste into Excel. Might be a better option than trying to print that PDF up here. But play with those. People are always asking, superintendents always want percentage reports. You can do that on evaluation reports, all different kinds of areas that you can run graphical reports. You guys are being mighty quiet. Any questions from you that you wanted to hear, something you wanted to see today or look at today? Okay. We're going to move on in our slides. I have published some reports, although I was looking at one a while ago. So if you do go out there, I have published these to district administrators to run evaluation status reports with those percentages. I was looking at one a while ago and it looked like maybe the location demographics had yanked. So if you try these and they aren't working, please let me know and I'll go rebuild them. Or you can look at them and go build your own, either way. All right. All right, this is your chance to ask any questions that maybe weren't previously asked. We're going to look at a few resources and we're going to wrap up our session today. So in the resources, I have included all those ad hoc report topics that you saw listed and what they pull. Okay. We won't read over those. You can read over those at your time. Upcoming in February on the 15th, we're going to take a deep dive into creating PD playlists. And we've set aside an hour and a half so you can really get in there and play with creating those PD playlists and publishing those out to people and assigning people PD playlist. And so maybe you're trying to track MTSS or ECATS completions, mentor courses completions. That's a good session to join. That dashboard is really, really cool. And then the export a plan to PDF reports. These are great for your end of year reports. They do take time to run and you need to plan these out. You can get those end of year summary reports to say, and it saves individual PDFs. It groups them by school and then whatever other parameters you want them named by. So this is a good one for those end of year reports. We also use this during the beginning of year when you get those BT audits. I have a guide for BT audits for export a plan to PDF too. If you are looking for reports to run in ad hoc and you are doing the professional development and you want those kind of reports, my customer service manager with PowerSchool, Sean Baer, he has a great webinar covering those PDF ad hoc PD reports. Slow down my speech here. It's right here. It does cover overall, like from the super user level, my level, but it does cover all those professional 5 good PD reports for you to run. And I think I might have a question come in. Where are the reports you have created? I do not see them on my screen. That's because I was using the training account and it's only publishing to the training account users that trainer has access to. So that's why you don't see those. And if you're asking about other ones, just email me and we'll work on that and see what's missing. We always like to promote our Google site, our Bit.ly NCEES support site. This is where you can go find our webinars, all the manuals and help that you need with doing the evaluations out here. Here's a list of all your NCEES contacts. There's myself, my supervisor. Hey, we're hiring for a home-based manager. Dr. Dietrich was promoted to DTL manager. So if you know anybody who wants to be my boss, please share with them that they can put in the application for home-based manager. And then Dr. Socks, all these are links to emails. All your representatives that represent you at our advisory board meetings we hold quarterly, there's a list of those folks. They are awesome and they will listen to you and bring back any concerns or kudos you have to us. Here is my contact information. Here's my appointment information. So if you want to make an appointment with me, these are 30 minutes. We can extend those as needed. I'm happy to get on with your group, walk through anything you want to walk through. And then let's put this in the chat. Now, if you want to get this certificate for today, complete this feedback survey. And at the end, it's going to ask you, do you want a certificate? And you'll have to enter your name and your email address. Be careful with that email address. I had 2 that registered today where they bounced back when I emailed most of you the pre-information for today. So be careful with your email addresses. Let me see if we have any other questions. Audrey, did you see any other questions?
No, I didn't see any other ones. Everybody was just giving you a congratulations or
okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I hope this hour and a half worked out good for you. Maybe it was a little bit more leisurely to give you time to think and follow along. So if you like that time frame, we'll do those for some of our webinars. Our next 2 webinars are actually hour and a half each. All right. Well, thank you so much for attending today. We're going to hang out for just another minute or 2 before we wrap it up. I hope you guys have a great afternoon. And you're welcome, Michelle. Thank you.
Yeah, you had some really good reviews. Sam, I thought that was nice.
Yeah. We have great NCEES people.
Yeah.
Love working with all of you. Okay, I'm going to stop the recorder and wish you all a good evening.